Hello, physical practice owners. If you want to know how to be seen as the practice that new patients want to go to year after year, then this is the episode for you. Hello and welcome to today's episode. It is called How to Keep Your Irresistible Offer Working Year After Year. Now, this is one podcast episode of a series that we've done about creating irresistible offers, really nailing that down and putting that in front of the patients you're looking to attract. There's a lot of podcasts. So if you sort of landed here first, you can keep listening to it, but it might be helpful for you to go back through the podcast list literally just before this to have a listen to what they are, to get an idea of how to get to this point. But if you know how to create offers, you've had experience in doing them before, and you've had some good success with them, then this is a great podcast episode. Now, why I want to cover this is because, when it comes to really moving the needle in being seen as the practice in your area that patients want to come to, one of the key ways of doing that is having an absolutely amazing, irresistible offer for your patients. You've got to have that in board. It's something that you're going to absolutely need to have. Now, one of the things, though, is where a lot of practice owners get wrong is they create an offer and they just sort of leave it. They let it run, month after month, year after year, quarter after quarter, right? But unfortunately, what happens with that is, you go through what we call market fatigue. And the effect of the offer sort of loses its punch, if you want to call it that, over time. What we're going to talk about today is how to make sure that you can come up with one great offer, but how can you keep it working month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year? So it keeps working for you. Like all great things, it needs work. This as well, investment, time, and management. But let's have a look into it. A great offer is one of the key things that you need to have to really get patients over to you. It is so critical that it becomes very important for you to make sure you're on top of it and to make sure it's fresh, it's really attractive, and it pulls the patients into your practice, right? So it's going to be a great investment of your time and whatever resources you want to put into it, because it's a very long-term strategy, right? If you really think about something that you've purchased where you've had a lot of options, in terms of companies or businesses to purchase it from, if you really think about the decision you made to go with the company that you did, it would be because of a certain offer, including brand. Brand is also, it's a value proposition as well, right? This conversation is all about how to make sure that you still remain powerful, all right, in the long term in your area for the new patients. One of the big things is when you first create an offer, for example, even if you've had an offer for some time, you've got to know what works and what doesn't work. One of the ways to really know this to, great certainty and a lot of detail is continuous A/B testing. Now, what I mean by this is you can come up with a certain offer. Let's just say if you're not 100% satisfied with your appointment, we'll give you money back, no questions asked. That's an offer. Okay. Now, that could work, but obviously might not as well. And you need to find out, firstly, why it's working or why it's not working. And the best way to do that is testing different things, right? And what I mean by this is whenever you're testing, whenever you're A/B testing, so the basic concept of A/B testing, just in case you didn't know, is you have two things that you put up of anything, in this case, an offer, right, with one small change between them, so you know which one works best. For example, it could literally be just one word that is different, that might land a bit differently with your patient, all right? One of the offers could speak to them more because of the language you used, because that one word, all right? Or it could be a different offer, all right? So what you want to be doing is over time, you want to make sure that you're always A/B testing your offers, all right? Especially if you just create an offer that you put out there, you need to A/B test to really refine it to find out what that is, especially to come to a point where it has a lot of traction with the patient that you're really looking to approach. Okay, so there's a systematic approach you can have to do that. Like I mentioned, changing a word is enough to test the difference between them. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but when it comes to your market and the new patients you're trying to attract, that one word could be the difference that they see you totally differently, right? The other ways to test them is all the little things that you plug into an offer. For example, if you're not 100% satisfied with your appointment, 100% money back, no questions asked. So that is your offer. You can change components within that. All right. So if it's 100% money back, they might not want money back. They might want something else in return. So this is the compensation part of it. All right. So you can have a look at, you can A/B test the compensation. All right. You can, 100% satisfied with your appointment. Appointment is basically the resource that the patient has to pay, the time and money and effort that is captured in the appointment. You might want to put a different resource in there. All right. And 100% money back, no questions asked. Okay. You might want to change the wording around that. So what you really want to do when it comes to A/B testing is have a look at the offer, have a look at all the little parts that make up the offer. So the actual compensation, the actual resource, all right, in the offer, change them along with the words that we talked about. But the key thing is you don't want to change any more than one thing at a time, because then you don't really know what works. Only change one thing between them. That's the best way to do an A/B test. It's going to take longer to make sure you stay relevant and find out what the actual great offer is long term, and obviously need to keep changing it, but it's the right way to do it. Otherwise, if you want to shortcut and change too many things, you're really not going to know what's going to work. Okay, it is the right way to do it. So continuous A/B testing is a really great way to do it. Now, dynamic market research. Now, what I mean by that is, as things are evolving, as the times are evolving, what your patients want always will also change. So this is where you really need to find out, keep a very close eye, keep a strict finger on the pulse, per se, on what your patient's really looking for and what they're looking to avoid. All right. So this is where constant surveys are critical. You might feel and think that you've got the market figured out what they really want, but that's going to change with times that are changing, with the environment, things, what people want and what they don't want is going to change. So it's up to you as a practice owner to really make sure you close eye on that. Have surveys every new patient, or maybe after a certain number of visits to the practice, ask them, what made you keep coming here? Why do you love it here? Or why did you choose our practice over the others? What is it that we give? What is it that we are helping you avoid, all the pains? Make sure that you keep gathering data over time, because you'll start to see certain patterns and certain things changing. Then you got to incorporate them onto the offer. That's how you stay yourself current. Otherwise, if you're too lazy and you don't put any effort into that, your offer will be irrelevant over time, because the market's moved, but you haven't, and your offer hasn't, right? So that's a very, very big thing. Now, update the value proposition. Now, we sort of tapped on this, very briefly on that last point. So when it comes to creating more value, there's four main components, 4 components only. All right. Is it, are you helping them achieve their dream outcome, whatever that is, by them coming to you, whether it be getting to sport, getting back to work, recovering after being pregnant or giving birth? What's their dream outcome they're looking to achieve by coming to you? All right. The second component is what we call the perceived likelihood of achievement of that dream goal. How certain are they, do they feel, or do they see that you can help them achieve their dream goal? How certain do they feel? So a good way to capture that is testimonials, case studies, before and afters. You're really painting a picture as to, we've helped this kind of athletes, or whatever, this before state, go to after state, and people talk about it. There's testimonials. You can work on that. The third part is time delay. How quickly can you help the patient get to their dream goal, understanding that they want the time delay to be as close to zero as possible. And that's what you want to work on as well, right? And then the last part is when it comes to effort and sacrifice on their part, right? Of any resource they're spending. So it could be effort and sacrifice, meaning it could be time, it could be money, it could be actual effort, maybe with home exercises, any energy that they put in, money, time, effort, bringing the kids with them, getting the babysitter to look after the kids. All these things is part of the effort, and you want to get that close to zero as possible, right? Once again, keeping a close eye and close, pulse on what of those 4 components of value is really important to your patient. Really getting to know what they are. Okay, because when they change, and they will, your offer and the way you treat patients also has to change. All right, so making sure that you're looking at how you create value for your patients and changing that with what the patients want when it's changing over time. Right? Okay, so refresh the offer naming. So naming an offer is a very important part. For example, our pain-free guarantee, for example, right? Now, that's great. You've got to have a name because it becomes more memorable and it's more marketable, but it'll start to become boring and vanilla after a certain while because of hearing the same thing that they heard maybe last year, same thing. Now, you just need to change a couple of things around in the wording to be different. All right. You can essentially say the same thing, but you got to say it a little bit differently so it appears fresh. You don't necessarily have to change your offer, all right, or the actual, the actual offer that you're putting in front of the patient, all right, but you just change the words around a little bit to make it feel new. That's all you have to do. So ask yourself to keep fresh, maybe every 6 months, change the name of the offer just a little bit. So it's the same, but it's dressed and wrapped differently, right? So it sounds fresh. All of a sudden, even the older patients, they get excited about it and you stay relevant. What this will also do is if you have a great offer, what you'll find is a lot of your competing practices will start to sort of adopt it, right? But if you keep changing it, you're remaining one step ahead of them. Okay. So you got to refresh the naming of it. The other thing is, create an offer for each service of your practice. All right. So you might have, if you have one of your big avatars is, let's just say, athletes want to get back into sport, like it could be a recovery guarantee or recovery roadmap or whatever that is, that's really, really, really big for them. Okay. So you can create an offer around that. You might have another section of your patients that really just want to get back to their active lifestyle after giving birth. All right, you want to create an offer around that. So think about all the little subsections or the little patient avatars that you have in your practice that you're attracting. Create an offer for each of them. All right, that's a really, really good way to make your practice really irresistible for those avatars you're trying to attract as well. Okay. The next thing is leverage technology and analytics. So keep a track of who's actually taken advantage or who's come into the practice because of the offer. All right. Put that in the, initial questionnaire. Why have you come in? Is it an offer? All right. And then keep a track of what, if anyone who's actually claimed on the offer. For example, if someone's asked for money back, right? Ask for it. Write that down, note that down, document it so you can get some idea as to what's worked and how many people have claimed it, right? What's the percentage of claim, all that kind of thing. You can keep that data, right? We can use this if you're feeling like a lot of people are claiming on a certain guarantee. There's a few problems there, right? The problem is either you can't deliver what you are saying in the offer, or the offer is not correct. All right. So you got to ask yourself why that is, but the only way you can do that is if you actually document them. It's a big thing. All right. Competitive analysis. Now, keep a track pay a little bit of attention to what the competing practices are doing as well. It's important to know. Don't spend a lot of time there because your focus should be on how to make whatever you're giving better for your patients and your customers, but keep a close eye on your practices. You don't want to have the same offer as them, right? Because obviously it's not an offer. If you have the same offers, there's no difference there. So keep a close eye on what's happening there, but don't spend a lot of energy. Just sort of stay relevant and unique. That's mainly the only point. You want to focus more of your energy and attention on improving the customer and their experience, right? And you can use other services or cross promotion with other services. So, in an offer, you can literally, if you don't get pain-free with physio for whatever number of sessions, get a free massage or whatever that is. All right. So try and use all the ways you create value in your practice for your patients. Use all the ways within your offers as well. That's a good way to keep your offers very different and relevant at the same time. All right. And increases value and exposure to the different parts of your practice, because if they don't claim it, that means you've attracted on the offer, but they haven't claimed on the offer. But if they do claim it, you're basically exposing that person to another part of your business as well, or another service. That's a good thing, right? So you can cross promote with other services, and it's also you should have a page. So educational content integration. You should have a page for each of your offers on your website, right? And make sure you educate the people who are visiting that site on what that offer exactly is. You can create, it could be just written copy, it could be audio or explaining something. When you do that, what you do is you make your offer very, very easy and even clearer to understand, just in case if they have any questions. One of the key things you should be doing is whenever you create an offer, write down a set of frequently asked questions that may come from somebody who's considering taking you up on the offer. And this is where you answer that frequently asked questions section. So you're educating them. You're taking all the doubt out of their mind to make it more likely that they actually take either call you or book an appointment online or whatever that is to get themselves onto your books. Right? Educate them. It'll create more trust and authority as well. That's a very, very big way. Okay. Well, overall, you just got to make sure that what you do, you're complying with the big medical bodies out there. So APRA or in Australia and the other bodies around the world. Make sure that you remain in compliance and ethical. I really believe when it comes to these kind of practices, what's truly required for a business to thrive, some of the government bodies, right, they're a little bit slow to adapt on these things. And it's not their fault. It's just that they're just slow to adapt. But the landscape of, how people evolve, how the psychology evolves, and how business evolves, it's way faster than how governments evolve, right? But still, you got to remain ethical as well. And there's ways to do that, all right? It's definitely ways to do that because we do that with our practices that we work with as well, all right? So definitely keep that in mind, all right? So I hope that was useful to keep your practice really effective month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year. If you found that useful, there's lots more like this, articles, podcasts, things to download, you name it, right? Head to our website, physiomarketing.co. That's physiomarketing.co. And if you want some help from somebody who's in the physio industry who can help you scale and grow your practice, you can book a call with that as well. Once again, go to physiomarketing.co, book yourself a call. Other than that, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.